Alright, hello everybody, welcome back. Carl again. I know it's been a long time since my last video, and today I thought I'd do a video on my new 2017 Road King Special. Just a quick shot of the bike. Just bought this about 2 weeks ago now, and I love it. So I don't have the Street 750 anymore. So those who've seen my previous videos, thank you. So there's not much that I need to do to this bike for customization, but I think the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put an LED headlight in. So I did a little shopping around online. Now, if you go on eBay, you can get an LED headlight for about 50 bucks or so, and I was just skeptical about those quality of headlights. Although the light that I bought, the boxes look exactly the same, so they're probably produced in the same warehouse. Nevertheless, I ended up buying a light from a company called Eagle Lights, and their website is eaglelights.com. They did not sponsor this video. They did have a coupon code, so I got, I think it was 10% off, and it's free shipping. Came in 3 days. Here is what the headlight looks like. It has an H4 connector. And this is the kind of generic black box. If you've seen, there's the logo there. If you've seen any other websites, or excuse me, if you've seen any other YouTube videos about LED lights, you'll see that they all come in this kind of standard black box. Now, the other company I was really considering was a company called Genesai LED, and they have a very similar LED priced. And I kind of went for the Eagle Lights because of the customer reviews. There's a specific section on there that just everybody, I mean, it was like 17 out of 17. In fact, all of their products, not just the one that fits my bike, all of their products had phenomenal reviews. And so to me, that's worth the weight in gold. So anyways, I went with this. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to take this headlight off, and we'll show you that, and then we'll get it all wired up. Okay, so to start, there is one screw on the Road King Special here at the bottom. That will take this front bezel off. And then there's 3 screws that hold a retainer ring on. And so I'm going to take them off. Now, I did find that this screw here doesn't seem to be very happy. And in fact, I'm assuming that when they put it on, they kind of minced the threads. So just be careful. Let me find a towel for my fender, so not to tear that up. Alright, so now that you have that, you just pull this off. There is a retaining gasket in here and the spring clips. So we'll just set this to the side somewhere safe. Okay, now there is a bunch of screws, but you want to take the 3 Phillips screws off, and that's what actually holds this retaining ring. The other ones, I believe, are Torx, and that's actually for the headlight positioning. The other thing you want to watch out for is it'll come out with 2 screws gone, so don't let the light fall and bust on your fender. And there is the retaining ring. We'll set that to the side. And then this headlight is going to literally just pull out. Now on this particular bike, it has one 7-inch projector style light with 2 bulbs. The top one is the low beam and the bottom one is the high beam. So you just squeeze together on the sides here, and that'll allow these to release. Alright, and we'll set the headlight someplace safe. What I'm going to do is we're going to go down in the workshop and we're going to make a connector up. Okay, so let's make an adapter. So this is the LED headlight, has the H4 plug. This is the pinout for the H4, ground, low beam, and high beam. And then I bought a couple of these adapters here. This is the H11 style adapter. As you can see, I got 2 of them. On my bike, I actually have 2 specific bulbs, and then one is low and one is high, and I don't want to cut the factory harness. So these will plug into the low beam and high beam, and then I have an H4 connector there. So I'm going to essentially just wire these into there. Okay, so what I did was went ahead and got the wires prepared. I went ahead and found which color wires match the H4 plug. Conveniently, ground is black, low is the blue, and high is red. Now, I didn't mention earlier, but I got this connector here at my local AutoZone. These I actually ordered on eBay. I thought that this came with an H4 to H13 adapter, and I was just going to cut that and use the H4 to H13 adapter. Unfortunately, it didn't come with that, because of the light I bought. So I had to buy this kind of last minute. Either way, I couldn't find these H11, H9 connectors at my local parts store, so I bought them online. Okay, and there we have it. One connector. Now what I'm going to do is just put a little bit of tape on this. Alright, and there it is. I just put a little more black sleeving on it and then just wrapped it in some tape, trying to make it a little bit somewhat waterproof. And there's the little harness. Now, if you don't want to make this, you find that that's a pain, or maybe you don't have the soldering skills, you can buy this connector, and I'll put a link for everything down below. And you can actually just buy this connector pre-made. The problem was it was about $24. I think I paid $6 for these two connectors. I got two of the H4 connectors for $9. So, you figure, let's just say they're $5 for this one, $6 for this, so $11 I have into this. So what I need to make sure now is that I get the wires the right way around, because you can see they're not polarized. So black is actually on this side, and so that is this way. And the same with this one, black is on that side. Let's just get a meter and double check these connections here before we get involved in this. They're backwards. I'm assuming black is the connector, so we'll put that on. Let's unplug this, and I'm assuming black is ground. And yes, that's in fact the case. And let's check this one. Yep, that's the case. So black is the ground. If you get them wrong, you're going to pop a fuse, because remember, the two black wires are actually tied together inside the connector. Now, some of the bikes you'll see, I was watching one video and the guy had a 17, I think it was a street rod, and his had these two bulbs, but he actually was able to trace the harness back and find a different connector, which was the H13 style. I could not find that connector anywhere. In fact, mine run back underneath the fuel tank, and I did not lift that. That's why I just made this little adapter. Okay, so there's LED, and that'd be low, and then that's high, there's high. Now, let's see if you can see here. So I actually have these little ears right here and here that actually fit right in this bracket. And so this is all factory, so it actually fits where it kind of aligns that perfectly. And so now I'm going to take my headlight retaining ring, and I need to peel away some of the plastic. I didn't want to take the plastic off, I don't want to scratch the lens. Make sure I get that the right way around. I left the screw in this far right one on purpose. Alright, so there's the three screws. So now we'll take our cover and we'll just make sure that that gasket is down on the where it's supposed to be. It's like a groove that it fits in. And these metal pieces here are the top, because remember the screws at the bottom. And pull off our plastic. I'm actually going to put this plastic on the old headlight assembly after I clean it. This headlight is basically brand new. I mean, I have, I think, 100 miles on this bike. Alright, this will be a factory headlight test. There is just a very little bit of light spillage, as you can see there from the sunlight that I had closed off. But in the front, as you can see, there is absolutely no light spillage. So, factory Harley headlight on a battery tender, motor not running. Kind of see that's the amount of light you get. Let's add the high beam. And then low beam. Yeah, okay. So let's see what we can do better with a LED headlight. Okay, so here is the LED test. Let's see how it looks. Again, I am on the battery tender. Same trailer was. The bike has not moved. I got all the light spillage covered. Let's go ahead and turn on the bike. Let's make sure that the bright lights are off. That is the LED light. And then this is high beam. Don't notice much of a difference with the high beam. I will say, looking at it in the trailer, I wouldn't say that it lights up more area, but it's definitely brighter. The light is a lot brighter. Alright, so I just went for a ride. You know, it's really hard to describe the difference in light. I said originally that I don't know if it was brighter or not. I think it definitely is brighter. I noticed even in the daytime, I mean, it's 8:30 on a middle of the June day here in Maryland, and it'll be sunlight till about 9:30. I say sunlight, but, you know, dusk. And so you probably wouldn't really need a headlight until, you know, 9:30, really when you need the light. Anyhow, the camera really does a good job at focusing the light down, so it's really hard to kind of display the light. But I noticed driving down the road, the speed limit signs and the yield signs and stop signs really reflected. So I really noticed with the LED light as I'm driving down the road, even in the daylight, the speed limit signs and the stop signs and all the road signs really glue and reflected from the LED. And I think that's the big difference to me. Let me just throw the high beam on again. So there's the high beam. So I'll be interested to see when it actually gets dark how it looks. So anyhow, this is really meant to be a video of how to install it in the Road King. I wanted to specifically show kind of behind the headlight bucket there what you're working with as far as the wires go, and that it's really not that hard to do. So I should mention I did look at the Harley version of the LED Daymaker, and unfortunately at $525 I just think that is insane for what you're getting. I just can't believe that it's that far of a price difference. I mean, if this light is $125 and the Harley light was $250, I think that would be more reasonable. But I mean, you're talking 5 times the price. Just doesn't make sense to me. Nevertheless, that's for your own determination. So what I'm going to do is I'll wait until it gets dark and take some pictures of the LED headlight just in general darkness. Low beam. High beam. Okay, I just want to try to sum up the light differences. I know I've talked a lot about, is it brighter, is it not brighter? And you've seen the two videos independently, and I'm not really sure how I can show them together. So on the computer here, you can see this screen here is the regular LED factory bulb. And you can see why I thought it was brighter, the LED, because there's a lot more light spillage. There's more light over here and more light to the top and the side, but kind of less light in front of you where you really need it. It's certainly bright, don't get me wrong, but it's not the crisp white light of the LED. Where when you look at the LED, you can see how there's less light spillage around the side, but there's that more intense light. In fact, you can see here that you can almost make the word Craftsman out. I don't know if you can here, but I can certainly, to my eye, fairly make the word Craftsman out fairly easily. And here it's just so bright right in that spot that it's just really hard to see any representation. And so you have kind of a lot brighter beam of light. So what I want to do now is switch the light so that way you can see the differences in the monitors. So now we have the factory headlight over here. And you're not going to be able to see, but then there is the word Craftsman right here on the toolbox. So you can't see, but there's a logo that says Craftsman right there. You can just see it on the toolbox. And here I can actually make the letters out. Whereas on the LED, it's just so bright and intense in there. You can't even see the drawer that's there from the 5-drawer tool chest. As opposed to over here, you can clearly see the 5 drawers here, the 2 big ones and the 3 small ones. So, I mean, that's kind of the difference in the light. Now, let me just run this forward. And, okay, so now this is the LED light here with the high beam on. And again, it's just kind of added the intensity of the light. And then over here, you just have a lot more light spillage. I mean, you get more of over here kind of illuminated, and more of this door really illuminated, and more of the upper section illuminated. So I don't know that it's actually put light on the road. It just seems like it's made the area directly in front of the bike brighter. Where over here, you just have this beam of light kind of out in front of the bike. And in my mind, that's where you'll want it. I don't know. I mean, it all comes down to individual preference and what you think. You make the decision. That's kind of why I wanted to have both lights here kind of shown on the screen so you can make your own interpretation. And again, if you look at the factory light here with the high beams on, there's a lot more light in that area. But you can still see the word Craftsman. You can still make out the 5 drawers even with the high beam on. Where with the LED, you cannot make any of this out. It is just absolutely blinding in that zone. Nevertheless, the decision's up to you.